Watch this video before you do anything with your PS5 Pro. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is PSReady, my channel all about PlayStation. I have it. I have the PS5 Pro. It's here in my studio. I'm excited. This is not a review. There are plenty of reviews out there. I haven't even had any time to actually put game time in on this thing. But for this video, I wanted to show you and tell you everything that you should do or check out with your PS5 Pro so that you can get up and running as fast as possible and take advantage of all the hidden new features that come along with it. And I will say, before I dive into it, I noticed something when I was changing out the disk drive from my PS5 Slim to my Pro that is a little bit alarming that I haven't seen a single review actually mention. But yeah, let's just jump into the first little guide here, which is how to put a disk drive on your PS5 Pro. I'm assuming if you bought a Pro, you also bought a disk drive, or if you have a PS5 Slim with the disk drive, it is really simple to just take the disk drive off of that and transfer it over. My footage is doing that, but the process is exactly the same if you have a new disk drive that you bought from Amazon. So for me, I had to get my PS5 Slim and put it on its left side. So if you're facing the console like it's looking at you like this, the left side has to go down, and you want the disk drive side, like the front of it, facing away from you. And then it's really simple. You just go to the top left corner of the bottom faceplate and pull up. It's so much easier than it is on the launch PS5. It doesn't even feel like you're breaking it anymore. That plate should just pop right off. And then once you're inside, you don't really have to do anything. There's like a little arrow and a hole. You stick your thumb in that hole and just pull up. The little USB or whatever connector port that connects the disk drive to the console will disconnect. And there's like two little hinges that just lift right off. And then the disk drive is out of the PS5 Slim. Then the process is extremely similar, if not exactly the same for the PS5 Pro. Put it down facing away from you, left side down, grab the top left corner of the bottom plate, pull up, it'll pop off. And now the process is reversed. You're going backwards to front instead of front to back. You take those two little hinges and hook them in the little holes with arrows, then just slowly drop down the disk drive so that the hinges catch, and then the USB port or whatever port it is should just pop right into place, and then go through the process of popping the plate back on. It's also a little bit hinged. It's hinged towards the front of the console. Take the little hinges, slide them in, lower it down towards the back of the console, and give it a nice firm push. You'll feel and hear a big pop, and that's how you know that the plate is reactivated. And if you bought the disk drive instead of using the one from your PS5 Slim, the process is 2 times faster. All you have to do is the second part of that. Pop the plate off of your PS5 Pro, slide in the disk drive, or drop it in actually, and then pop the plate back on. You're good to go. When you turn on your console, it'll ask you to activate the disk drive, or if you're transferring it from a PS5 Slim, it'll say, hey, this can only be activated with one console. You have to be connected to the internet to really activate it, and then you just hit OK. It'll activate, and then you're good to go with your disk drive. You can play your disc-based games from PS4 and PS5. But this is where I realized there is a little bit of a flaw here. So I saw all these videos that were tearing down the PS5 Pro saying that the bottom plates work just fine, but it's the top plates that don't. And that is not entirely true, because when I put my PS5 Pro back upright, I realized that the bottom plate from the PS5 Slim that covers up the disk drive, the extra plate, that is not tall enough to actually cover the little component holes and stuff like that underneath the 3 slats on the PS5 Slim. So while people were saying in reviews and teardown videos that the top plate is different enough where it's not going to work because of the placement of the hinges and the poppers and everything like that, the bottom plate, while it will work, it's not tall enough. So for me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if I had this thing on my desk, it would really bug me because it's not as tall on the right side as it is the left, and you can clearly see that they're different heights, but it doesn't really stop it from standing flush. Like, it doesn't wobble, it's not tilted or anything like that. And at the end of the day, this thing is going on a shelf behind my TV. I don't really even have to look at it, so it doesn't bother me. But if I was someone who was conscious of that, or was keeping it in a TV stand where it's going to be viewable, I think it's kind of forcing you into ordering a separate set of plates for your PS5 Pro, which is kind of a bummer. And I just grabbed it to double check just to make sure I didn't do anything wrong. And it is on there firm, which means all the clips are in place. But yeah, this is the plate for my PS5 Slim on the disk drive side. and it's not tall enough for the PS5 Pro. Now that got me really curious. Does the disk drive itself come with both plates? Because you need a separate plate to cover the disk drive. Like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I just went upstairs and I dug through the box, and there is not an extra plate included with the PS5 Pro. So if you care about it being flush and even on the top portion of the bottom plate, you're probably gonna have to buy specific plates for your PS5 Pro, which is kind of a bummer. I'm surprised this slipped by so many people because I was kind of shocked when I noticed it. But anyway, that brings me to the second little guide in this video. There are multiple ways to transfer all your data. If you're someone who kept all of your games on your PS5 or PS5 Slim, you took up the 800 gigabytes or 1 terabyte if you have the PS5 Slim, all you have to do is the data transfer. You just go to the system settings, go to data transfer, make sure both PS5s are plugged in. It'll transfer all of your stuff over the internet, and that entirely depends on how good your modem and router are because it's going through your home network. I'm not doing that because all of my games are on my 2 terabyte SSD, which is technically external, but it's internal. My expansion SSD has all of my games on it, and that process is way easier because as long as you turn on your PS5 Pro and log in, your games will work when you put the new SSD in. But if you don't log in beforehand, I don't know if it'll wipe it or anything like that, but you're gonna have to log into the PSN to link your account to the console so it'll know that you have the license for the games that are installed on the SSD, which is just a minor little hiccup, I would say. But anyway, the process is a little bit different depending on which PS5 you're transferring from. It's all on the same side though. So you're still gonna put it down on its left side facing away from you just like last time. But this time, if you have a PS5 Slim, you're gonna pop off the top plate, same process, pull from either corner. I pulled from the bottom left this time because the corners meet, and this is if you're looking at it vertically, I guess, like top left and bottom left. If you're looking at it horizontally, it'd be top right and bottom left. It's weird how it's still bottom left no matter what, but anyway, it should pop off just as easily as the bottom plate. With the regular PS5, you just slide it backwards and then up. It feels like you're breaking the console, just power through it. And then you look at it, there's a little door right there. You grab a Phillips head screwdriver, unscrew that screw. I have an iFixit kit. It comes with the perfect size little bit right there. Not sponsored. It's just something I always keep around. Then you pop the door off. I stuck the little screwdriver in the hole and just slid it up, and that worked really well. Then if you have your SSD in there, you have to unscrew the screw that holds it down, gently pop it out, then screw the screw back in. So if you sell it or you go back to use it or you keep it in a closet to hack it, which I'll talk about a little later in the video, you want to keep that screw around for if you ever put an SSD in there. Then of course, put the door back on, screw it back in, pop the plate back on, or slide and pop it back on if you have a launch PS5, throw it in the closet, do whatever you're going to do with it. Then take your PS5 Pro, put it in front of you, same thing, left side down, facing away from you, pop off the top plate the exact same way you do on a PS5 Slim, unscrew the door, unscrew the screw, move the little riser to where your SSD lines up. Mine was right in the middle. Put the riser down, slot in your SSD very gently, screw it in, put the door on, put the plate on, and you're good to go. All of your games that were on that SSD should populate as long as you're logged into the console. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the tips and tricks for the user interface. There's not a whole lot different. I mean, if you boot it up and showed someone them side by side without knowing what console is being booted up, there's no way to tell. It does the welcome to PS5 message. It downloaded an update for both the DualSense that came with the console and the console itself, which took about 5 minutes on my great internet, which is awesome. Then you're still presented with Astro's Playroom. They're still including that for free. The first thing I did was check out the Welcome Hub. To customize the Welcome Hub to actually give it a sort of theme look, all you're going to want to leave active is 3 widgets. So the ones I leave active, the most relevant ones to me are wish list, trophies, and battery life of connected accessories. Then when you're on that screen, the edit screen, which you hit R3 to get to, hit square, you can move them all to the left, and then you'll be presented with the background. On my PS5 Slim, I have a Space Marine background, but on the PS5 Pro, there's a new background that's exclusive to the Pro. It's the APU that's running the console. It's got the colored beams coming off of it. It's animated. So if you want that for your PS5 Slim, you're not going to be able to have it animated, but what you can do is find an HD render of it on Google, save it to a flash drive, import it to your PS5's media gallery, open that picture up, get rid of the UI, screenshot it, and then you can choose a custom background from your screenshot. So it won't be animated like the PS5 Pro one, but they're basically using the same chip at the end of the day. It just looks a little bit different. So if you want that cool exclusive background, you can get 80% of the way there with just a regular old screenshot. After that, the first thing I did was disable HDCP. If you've got a capture card like I do, you have to do that to be able to capture media. Then I went into the screen settings and scrolled all the way down and noticed that the PS4 image enhancement feature is off by default. I flipped that on. It doesn't do a whole lot. It just kind of cleans up rough edges. It's like a visual filter for PS4 games, but it works in every PS4 game, including Bloodborne. So once that's on, your PS4 games will just look a little bit sharper and a little bit cleaner. That will obviously come into play more if you're playing on a monitor versus a big TV, but it's nice to have nonetheless. Another thing you can do to take advantage of your PS5 Pro with the first games you play is head over to the PlayStation Store. They have a section of PS5 Pro enhanced games. Now, the list that we've gotten so far had around 90 games on it that will be PS5 Pro enhanced, but I counted this list that they have in the store. It's only 45 games right now. It's mostly first party games and third and second party exclusives, but the list is really good. I mean, if you're looking for a specific game to play first on your PS5 Pro, it's pretty much guaranteed it's on that list, and then all the other little random ones should populate over the weekend at the very least. But other than that, the software, it's exactly the same. Everything does feel just a little bit snappier, but I gotta give Sony props. Unlike the PS4, which got really choppy by the midpoint of the generation, probably because it uses a regular spinning disk hard drive, the PS5 stays really fast, stays really quiet. It's still basically imperceptible, the difference of going through the operating system, which is cool because even the Steam Deck has that problem. Like jumping from the Steam Deck LCD to the OLED, the first thing I noticed is that the OLED is so much smoother moving through the operating system than the Steam Deck LCD. But that brings me to the last topic of this video, which is what you should do with your PS5. So you could trade it in, which would have been smart before you picked up your PS5 Pro, because that's how you get the most credit, or you could flip it on Facebook Marketplace. That's personally, if I was trying to sell it, what I would do. Just make sure you meet at a police station or a Starbucks, somewhere interior with a lot of people around. We've seen so many stories of people having their PS5 stolen. You don't want it happening to you. It looks like you can still get a little over $300 for it, which is almost half of the cost of the PS5 Pro. So that might be worth doing. But for me, I have 3 PS5s now. I have the PS5 Pro, PS5 Launch, PS5 Slim. I'm going to put my Pro on my 77-inch TV. That just seems like the best place for it. I'm going to move the Launch PS5 down here to my desk where my monitor is in the basement, and then keep the PS5 Slim on my Warhammer desk upstairs. But the third option, which you might want to keep in mind if you have multiple PS5s, is keeping around your Launch PS5 or your PS5 Slim to be a jailbroken console, because I'm not going to advocate for piracy, but there are patches for older games like Bloodborne specifically that you can run the game in 60 FPS mode with enhanced textures. You know, all these games that didn't get PS5 enhancement patches, you can get them third party through modders online, and it's a pretty easy process. Right now, the current software hasn't been jailbroken, but you can just wait it out, and the way to do that is to just make your PS5 playable offline. I'm pretty sure that keeps your account logged into it, but if you go into your settings, make it playable offline, and then turn off the Wi-Fi, it will never update again. So then when the next jailbreak comes for the current software that's on the console, you can install that, and then you'll have a jailbroken PS5 forever, which is awesome. But regardless, I would recommend keeping it if you have the money. Like, you don't need the discount on the PS5 Pro. There's going to be a lull where the price drops on the PS5 when they're overabundant, but as time goes on, like 5, maybe 6 or 7 years from now, the price, you're going to see it slowly tick up as PS5s start failing, or, you know, people break them or throw them out or sell their own and they become less plentiful. You'll see the prices continue to rise, and then when people really get nostalgic for it, you might even be able to make back the $500 you originally bought it for. So I always advocate for keeping your consoles. I have a closet that's nice and dry that I keep them all in. I have like every console I've ever owned. I used to sell them when I was in college and I had no money, but now I keep things around because even if I don't want to go back and play them later, if I ever need some quick cash, the longer you wait, the more you're going to get back. But yeah, guys, that covers it for this launch day tips and tricks video for the PS5 Pro. I'm excited to get into my PS5 Pro this weekend, play some Space Marine 2 and other stuff. Let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and set your notifications to all if you haven't already. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.